Welcome back to Actual Proper Podcast with myself, Reece Farkash, and my co-host, Twila Amato. Say hi.
Hello.
I am very clearly not Reece. But
And I'm
yes.
clearly Twila.
Yes, you are very clearly Twila. Anyway, welcome back to the podcast, and we are back at it.
Yeah. A week
Or so.
separate from the last one.
I
I
think
think this
so.
is a record.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we won't clap ourselves in the back too much. Important stuff is happening in the world. Man, is it ever.
Mega important.
So at the
crazy
top-
stuff.
At the time of recording, it is March 19th.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this can change
In the next 24 hours, even.
and at any time.
Mm.
So there's just always new updates and everything happening all the time. That, like we've seen the past week,
Yeah.
stuff is just changing so fast.
I think that's what makes this so overwhelming is the fact that it's changing so fast, and information really gets buried. I guess not buried, but because it changes so fast that, there's new information minute by minute almost, and it's kind of scary how things change that quickly.
Yeah, and if you don't know what we're talking about, if you've been living under a rock for forever, or if you're one of the Big Brother Canada contestants and you don't know what we're talking about, or if you're listening to this in the future and there's been more pandemics since, we're obviously talking about the coronavirus global pandemic. That's
Funny story. Apparently, turns out that the cast of Big Brother in Germany have no idea about COVID-19.
no one's told them yet.
No one's told them
They've
yet.
even, because that was what I was referencing was the
the
Canada Big Brother,
yeah.
where they like
Do they
stopped
not
the
know?
show and
Yeah.
they're like, well, they didn't stop the show, but they're like,
Really? Well, I mean,
yeah,
I
they
think
had
it's
to
still
sit down
going
with
on.
them and they're like, yo, the world's in trouble.
Time to get out of that house, dudes.
Get off the set.
But yeah, apparently the cast of Big Brother Germany don't know anything about COVID-19, and it's funny
That's
because
crazy.
one of the reporters in our
That's crazy.
in our outlet said maybe it would be a really funny prank if they told them about COVID-19 and then introduced a new housemate right away.
And he has a cough.
And I'm just like, that's cruel, dude.
That's not great.
Ooh, that's funny though.
That would be so wild though. Could you imagine?
Not knowing anything about the pandemic, and then all of a sudden the world's in shambles once you come out. Yeah, I think I would feel so I would dissociate so hard probably.
Yeah, but also because so coincidentally the time you're on that show, that time frame lined up with with the biggest part of this
the biggest
generation.
spike, I guess, yeah.
The most serious part. That's so crazy.
Oh man, but no, honestly, I am personally, I mean, it's
So
both.
how are you holding up?
Well, and both personally, I think, and professionally, it's so overwhelming because, obviously, you're surrounded by this all the time. Me as a reporter, I'm surrounded by this, and we're the ones reporting the facts and, what have you. And we're seeing, I guess, the worst and the best of humanity in cases like this.
And overwhelmingly the worst.
And overwhelmingly the worst, unfortunately, which is absolutely terrible. And that's actually one of the things that I had wanted to bring up is hoarding. And how that has been definitely one of the worst parts of this pandemic is we see people hoarding, and I see them with my own two eyes, whether I'm shopping personally, for household items, or I'm out on a story because we've been given a tip that, a bunch of people are just crowding around a Costco and cleaning out the shelves and stocking up on stuff and basically not leaving anything for anybody else. And that has been very frustrating on a personal level because you're out there trying to get yourself some toilet paper because you actually need it, but then not finding any. But then on the other hand, professionally, you're there, telling people, look, don't worry about it. There will be more toilet paper. You don't have to stock up on that so much. Also, coronavirus doesn't give you the runs. I don't understand why toilet paper is such a huge deal. But anyway,
You only need 2 packages of toilet paper should last you a few months.
Right, exactly. Especially
Like,
if
if
you're
you're
a
buying,
reasonable
like,
human being.
50 and you don't plan to resell
Yeah.
them, what the heck are you doing?
Exactly. And I think unless of course you're eating toilet paper, in which case that does not have nutritional value. Please don't eat toilet paper. But it's been very frustrating that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been, I guess it's just been with a lot of people, you know, not heeding the advice of healthcare officials, even, you know, the province or even the federal government. Like, it's been very difficult for me professionally to deal with that, because then it starts bleeding into like personal feelings, like of frustration and even fear sometimes for myself, where I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, if this is actually what's going on, if so many people are dying, then like, what if I'm next? I don't know. I probably don't have the best immune system. I mean, I try to be as healthy as possible, but like, you never know until like a sickness like this that you don't have immunity to strikes you. And then all of a sudden you're just like dying.
Right. So what's happening with the virus, in case you know that it can kill people, but you don't really know how it kind of works. So what happens is it's the virus, and when you get it, it incubates inside your nasal cavity, and from there it can get into your lungs. And if the virus moves into your lungs, in the rare cases, you develop pneumonia. Or you
well,
you
in the
have
worst
chance
of the
to develop
cases,
pneumonia. Yeah, exactly. Which is pneumonia is an
Terrible.
infection in the lungs. I've had it twice. Most people don't. Most people can go their whole lives without having it.
I love how
And
proud you sounded about that.
It's like, because I've suffered through it and I've made it through those 2 times, and it really sucked. Like, it's a lot of people kind of think of pneumonia as like, you know, the flu. It's nothing like the flu at all.
But that's the thing.
It can't even be classified in the same realm. It has similar symptoms, but to the nth degree. It's like, it's a flu, but you are actually debilitated. Like, each time I had it once in college, once when I was interning, and here in Kelowna. So I came back just in time. So it's how I can describe it is, it's a persistent cough for a month at least. It lasts for absolute ever, and it's like not even a cough where, you know, it's no big deal, you can still go throughout your day. This is a cough every 5 to 6 seconds, and it's absolutely debilitating. You can't focus on anything because it's like and then it's it develops into sweats or chills, and that fever just uses so much energy of your body. It knocks you out. Like, it takes up all your energy and more,
but
for
I think
weeks and weeks, and you can't even I was 20 and then 22 when I had it both times. Healthy early 20s, like, man, like prime candidate for prime bill of health. So I should have been the person that is more easily to bounce back of it, and, you know, the symptoms aren't as crazy. But I couldn't move off of my bed for a week.
But that's the thing, right? Is because it makes, like, with coronavirus and even with like pneumonia, it got you so ill, and people don't think about that, because just because you're asymptomatic doesn't mean that, you know, it's not going to hit you hard, because unfortunately the thing with coronavirus is none of us have immunity to it. I mean, not that we have immunity to pneumonia per se necessarily, but with this thing, the thing is it's contagious, and that's what makes it so dangerous. Is it jumps now, it can jump from human to human, and that's what makes this situation so much worse than, say, the seasonal flu or like even just pneumonia, right?
Yeah, it is crazy high infection rates, whereas like like pneumonia, each time I had it, it takes such a toll on your body. Like, I couldn't get healthy, even though I should have been, like, it would have taken me way more weeks to get healthy if I didn't, like, those antibiotics really do all the work. It's so hard to get healthy without them, and
That's kind of
like,
scary, to be honest.
it's just people don't recognize the severity of it. Like, I was forced to go back to work within like 3 days. I had off, and like it was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But
that's why you need to socially distance, you guys.
Yeah.
And like, please quarantine yourselves.
Yeah.
I know it can be boring, and I know it's gonna drive you stir crazy. Trust me, I am stir crazy. And currently, I'm still, we're still going to work, but that might change again in the future. But just being in the office, because I'm so used to going out on shoots and meeting people and stuff like that. But then with events getting canceled, people canceling on me because, for fear of the virus and obviously minimizing the risk to themselves and to myself. So they're canceling our interviews and stuff like that. And I'm reaching out to people and they don't want to meet with me in person. They want to do everything on the phone. But because my job is a videographer, I can't really just do it all like that. But at the same time, I've been very fortunate because the company that I work for, we are primarily, a print and online news source. And so I've been able to obviously help out on that front to do more written articles and stuff like that. But it's still been very difficult for me because essentially we're being quarantined in the office. We're being told to isolate ourselves in the office. And thank God we're all, for the most part, healthy people. Our newsroom is quite young, so we're not necessarily in any danger. But again, it's not to say that we're not sick. Just because we're not presenting any symptoms doesn't mean we're not sick, right? And that's why we're being careful, because we also don't want to put the people we're interviewing at risk. And that's why all of our interviews have been on the phone and we haven't met anyone face to face.
Yeah, it's scary, infectious like that. And I mean, what's 2 weeks of quarantine when if you get those serious symptoms, like it takes a month to get over.
Exactly.
It's insane.
And you're so exhausted. But
and
yeah, go ahead.
Like the thing that like I just am so, I guess what gets me going every time is just, for like most of the world, you can't afford to take time off to even self-isolate for a couple weeks. Like, you can't. You need the money. What are you going to do? Not pay rent? Lose your apartment? What's going to happen then? Like,
and that's why, again, an infectious disease like this is so potent, is because there are so many people who just can't afford to self-isolate, so obviously they don't, right?
And then you get the people going into work still, and then they get other people sick and so on and so on. And like, honestly, so many of us are in the same boat that if we did get sick, we don't really have a choice.
But I mean, at the same time, there are those people who do have that privilege to be able to take that time off work, but they're not. And there is this case of a bunch of college students in Florida still flocking to the beaches, still partying, despite, the lockdowns and bars and restaurants and pubs being closed. To minimize the risk and infections, and yet these people are still gathering together and just defying everything because they're like, oh well, if I get corona, I get corona, and I'm young, I'll bounce back from it. But that's not the point. The point here is you're not thinking of other people who could get sick and could possibly die from this illness. I mean, there have been several younger people who have died of the disease. It's not, anyone could die of it, essentially. But because you're being so selfish, you're just not thinking of others,
Yeah, no one gives a shit if you college students
don't have a spring break.
No. If you guys get sick, no one cares. It's not. No one cares about you and your health and your ability to not die from it. It's the people who can die from it that we care about.
Yeah. But also, again, if you're spreading this around, you're basically multiplying the number of cases that are actually like,
that's the whole thing.
You're blowing up the numbers. You're just being seriously foolish and selfish. And
but at the same time, like, it doesn't matter because
Kids.
those kinds of people would make that same choice anyway. Like there's always that part of the population that'll still do that. So
yeah, I guess.
it's,
Well,
it's
just
to
like
be
with the
expected.
hoarders, right?
It's
Just
not excusable, but it is to be
yeah,
expected.
yeah. And again, that's the part of, I guess, the worst part of humanity that's being shown right now. That is so very frustrating and maddening almost to me as someone who, who is so steeped in the news and the
Mhm.
news cycle, and it's just been so annoying. But it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, though, on the flip side of that, there are the best parts, I guess, or good parts at least, of humanity that's being shown. And that is, I guess, and you can see that with people kind of shining as they quarantine themselves and entertain themselves in quarantine.
And entertain others.
Yeah, and entertain
Like there's so
others.
many creators out there just putting up free content
Exactly.
just because,
to kind of
and
give
not
back to the
charging for it.
community.
Yeah, just doing it because not only do they have free time on their hands to do it, but also because they just understand that, this is a time where
this is the hard
everyone
time.
kind of needs to come together.
For sure. And I think that's so awesome that some creators are doing that, for free where they normally would charge. That's really cool.
Mhm.
Good on them.
We should,
I mean,
I would
this
say,
is free content.
yeah, I would say we should, but at the same time, I know you're so much more busy than normal because you work in the media.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of the opposite effect for our situation. So
Yeah, it's been
it just gets so much more busy.
So crazy. Yeah, and so much more busy. But well, anyway, go backtracking to entertainment and how to entertain yourself in quarantine. There's a Kelowna dad, so from here in the city. He literally so obviously, as any parent these days, does, he records his kids. And over the past 4 years, he's been recording them. And because he's found so much free time on his hands lately, with like working from home and what have you, he took it upon himself to take bits and pieces of his kids' recordings. So he has 2 kids. So the recordings that he took of them and stitched them together to create a cover of Journey's "Don't Stop Believing."
Mhm.
And I just think it's so funny.
He's used audio samples
of his kid.
Of his kid just making noise and talking and whatnot.
Exactly.
And he made it into a song.
It's just really funny that and the video product is actually very adorable, but also I don't know how to feel about it, because I'm like, on the one hand it sounds really weird to just hear children's babbling, but then that it's this recognizable song, but it's purely literally just like the kids making sounds. And I'm just like, oh my god, it's actually really cute. But also, again, like, it puts a smile on your face. And he made it again to entertain himself, but also he started sharing it and was like, you know what, it's a dark time, it's a heavy time, I get it.
This
is good
so
for
lighthearted.
people. Exactly. So like, that's definitely like one good news story out of like this whole like horrendous cycle.
I did like the quarantined Italians, of course. Everyone knows the singing on the rooftops and stuff. I love all of the people who are capitalizing on that, and then just
celebrities
making the
started
memes
doing
of
it
it
too.
Well, what they're doing is that they'll just take out the audio of what they're actually singing and then just put an audio of something else. So like, I love the ones that are just ridiculous songs. Like, like a post would go like, it's so awesome to see all of the camaraderie in the community, and it's just amazing that everyone's got on their balconies and they're singing Britney Spears song. Like it's been debunked like that. It's just people taking the audio and making it into a meme, but it's pretty funny.
Oh, I can only wish I sang that well.
But it's a horrible situation.
It is a horrible situation.
Yeah.
But people are making the most of it, and I think that's the best part out of it, is they're making the best out of that situation, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we're learning a lot of different jobs are totally pointless to be in an office for in the world.
I mean, I guess.
Turns out you don't have to go to the office to do work.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm still really grateful, though, that even though we haven't been called on to work from home quite yet, we do have, at the end of the day, when that does happen, we do have jobs that we can work from home with. Wait, that sentence didn't make sense, but
You
yes.
have the ability to
Yes,
work
I
from
have.
home in
Sorry,
the newsroom.
Wow, language faculties suck. But yeah, no,
But
I
then
do have that ability
there's
to
other
work from
people
home.
like us who just got either suspended or laid off from work.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's no.
It's a shit situation. I'll tell you that. It
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, again, there's a lot of, especially with a city like Kelowna that thrives so much on the hospitality industry. The whole hospitality industry actually has shut down, basically. You know, I mean, restaurants are on skeleton crew because they can only take orders for takeout or delivery. There's no more dining in. And so what's going to happen to the waiters and the servers? They have, especially the ones who rely so much on tips, they don't have that anymore. It's just terrible.
You know, people working in any public sector, like
exactly.
events coordination, you know, working in Coliseum, like there's just an infinite, like most jobs.
And especially,
do.
again, here where it's event city, all the events being canceled, it's
like,
insane.
My job, like the biggest part about my job was going to events, which are all illegal now.
Yeah,
so,
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
there's no more doing that.
And then on top of that, like, yeah, just like, I don't know, it's kind of eerie, you know, because a lot of the public facilities operated by the city or, you know, the district, they have all been shut down and just shuttered, basically. So a couple of days back, I was going around getting footage of basically all the facilities that the city of Kelowna mandated to be closed. And literally all of them were so empty. It was really, really scary. Like what's normally like the arenas, the skating rinks, you know, it's so weird to see them empty. And it's kind of
it's kind of
really
spooky.
Scary. Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't go too much longer. I say I'd give it about a month and a half more. Which is really scary to think, of course, for finances for the whole, like, most of the world's population.
Sure, for sure. But I mean, you know what? I don't know. I'm scared to think of what's going to happen. But I mean, you just gotta make the best of a situation like this, you know, and try to really make do.
Yeah, you gotta find ways to be able to sustain yourself and also entertain yourself, and not entertain yourself in the sense that you got to keep your mental faculties up while you're cooped up at home for so long. It can really, truly take its toll on people.
For sure. Especially those who are a little more...
if you're more introverted, it really takes its toll. Or extroverted. So, like, you know, just find ways to get around that, whether it be actually FaceTiming people or doing things online with other people, like whatever you can. Just, you know, let's not have those large gatherings anymore.
Just know that it's still legal and you're still allowed to take, you know, to call your friends, your family, to
highly encourage, check
them,
see how they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And always check in, you know, email people, I don't know, snail mail people, because Canada Post is still operating. So, you know, that's the thing. But also don't forget that you're still allowed to go outside. Especially at least right now in Canada, you know, you are still allowed to go outside, just obviously not in a huge crowd, you know.
Yeah, you can still go for a walk if you need some fresh air.
Go for a walk. That's totally okay. But obviously, you know, don't go partying with like a bunch of people and stuff like that. Take care of yourself. Read, write, you know, but also
read, write, Duolingo.
Yeah, but
finally get that done.
I think a big part of this is, just because you have all this free time, you know, don't feel pressured to, I guess, all of a sudden become the next boy genius or the next Bill Gates, you know, because I think a lot of people feel pressured when they have some time to do something great, to write the next, you know, big novel or things like that. Yeah, and I know a lot of people like that. And I think the big piece that you need to take from this is to not feel that pressure, because it's okay to actually have this downtime. It's okay to rest a little bit, especially from, you know, all this craziness that's going on with this virus. And yeah, I think take this time to actually get healthy.
Yeah, and that's even if you're not healthy, self-quarantining is a great idea. Just to stop the spread.
For sure,
like we were saying.
Yeah, stop it.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what it's like in a month or 2 months or 3 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
What's all happening? 2020 is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, 2020 has been really, really crazy. How weird.
The tension with World War III in North Korea in January. And then February had its own issues, and now it's
crazy because literally just it feels like it's already been a year, but it's only March.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like
let's hope aliens
barely
don't show up and kill us.
halfway into March.
Like in April. But if they do show up and don't kill us and are really chill, that'd be awesome. That'd be really cool. I'd really hope that would turn 2020 around.
It's so funny because
what if they're the ones who cure Corona?
No,
they bring the cure.
I saw a meme.
That'd be so cool.
There was a meme. I think I can't remember if I saw it or you showed me it, but there was this meme of like Martians with the Earth in the background, and they're like, they were like, it's so good that they're like humans have been wiped out, but man, they had the cleanest asses ever because of the toilet paper hoarding.
Oh boy.
Reddit, man, it's a great place to be.
Yeah, so I guess we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Check out Draw Effective episode 1
Mm-hmm,
is out.
Mm-hmm.
It was out last week. You can even check out a highlight video
more.
that I did. I did a cut since I had time, since I'm not working on quarantine. So there's a highlight cut, as well as follow Draw Effective on Twitter as well.
We have
we have Patreon as well, Polls Studios.
Ooh.
It covers Draw Effective and this podcast. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Stay safe out there.
Exactly.
Please really, really do take this seriously, because the point is to stop it from spreading. And that can only happen if you take the necessary measures. So take care of yourself, obviously. Quarantine, self-isolate while you have the chance, if you have the chance to do that. Especially, please do that. And keep yourself safe, man. I think don't breathe in other people's air. Don't do that.
Unless you have to resuscitate them, then mouth to mouth is fine.
No. Just leave them die.
Okay, that's the wrong message, but have a good one, guys.